One of the last times we were up here, Malik, we went to City Hall about a driver from Maspeth, Queens that committed suicide. And then a couple of weeks later, another guy from Queens who owned a yellow cab committed suicide. He parked his cab at 86th Street and East End Avenue, walked over and jumped into the East River. And
so they're committing suicide because the yellow cab business is so bad they can't make a living?
They can't pay the loans off. Like this guy, Kenny Chow, who I've written a poem about that I'm going to read here now. The day before he committed suicide, he went down to pay the loan on the mortgage with his credit card, and the credit card was rejected.
Ooh.
And to him, that was it. That he couldn't even afford to pay that. He's losing the house. His wife was diagnosed with terminal 4 cancer. So the world was closing in on him. And he was working 7 days a week. And he had been a jeweler. And he went out of that business to get into the cabbie business because his brother owned a cab. And I met the brother at the press conference. I was at a press conference because we were putting up missing signs for Kenny Chow. Because they didn't believe the NYPD were moving quickly enough. And it was amazing. A day later, the body turned up underneath the Brooklyn Bridge.
Ooh.
So this is just happening more and more because the pressure of not making any money, owing all this money through loans and everything like that. So I wrote a poem, and it's the New York Times, Chris and myself, Seth and Davidson, 3 cab drivers, when we did poetry at Joe's Pub. And I said back then, I'm not a poet. I didn't do it, but...
the Bard of Gridlock.
The Bard of Gridlock,
born.
yes. But I was so moved by going to the press conference, and Beta Phi Desai was there hammering away about what's going on in the industry, and the brother was there saying, at that time, he was missing. And, everyone sort of knew, he wasn't missing. He parked his car there, and that was it, right by Gracie Mansion. And I was just thinking, this is what's going on. So I wrote a poem, and I named it because the driver is originally from Burma. And I wrote, the title of the poem is From Burma to Brooklyn, the Medallion Death March. And I sort of put it on the Bataan Death March in the Philippines in the New York in World War II. So this is from Burma to Brooklyn, the Medallion Death March. You were born in Burma. Your name was Yao Ming Chow. But in the taxi lot at JFK, you became known as Kenny Chow. Not finding your fortune in jewels, you went searching for gold in the shape of a taxi medallion. Thus began the Medallion Death March. Your days were 14 hours, from red light in the morning to red light in the evening. Mayor de Blasio, were you looking out the window from Gracie Mansion when Kenny Chow first went missing? The poster on East End Avenue said you were missing. But Uber knew where you were. Lyft knew where you were. Douglas Shifter knew where you were. The NYPD took days to find you. If you missed a ticket payment, they knew where to find you then. But when you were floating down the East River, you were no longer stuck on the BQE or the FDR. You were no longer listening to the traffic report on 1010 Winds. Going under the 59th Street Bridge, you were wondering, who was Ed Koch anyway? Passing over the Queens Midtown Tunnel, you were not worried about the never-ending construction going on there. Sailing by the Williamsburg Bridge, no trouble about deciding whether you should take the inner or the outer roadway. The traffic on the Manhattan Bridge is backed up from Canal Street, but not for you. As you came upon the Brooklyn Bridge, you decided to anchor there. Your yellow medallion around your neck brought you to rest and the end of the Medallion Death March. No more mortgage payments for you, Kenny. No more rejected credit cards for you, Kenny. No more passengers asking you, where are you from, Kenny? No more red light cameras. No more looking for a parking spot because you found a spot at 86th Street and East End Avenue. New York has no streets paved of gold for us, for those of us that are on the Medallion Death March.